Hello, everyone, and welcome back to either the My Football Writer YouTube channel or the My Football Writer Spotify channel, whichever way you're choosing to watch or listen to the newest instalment of the MFW podcast, episode 26, as Norwich approach match day 23 in the Championship season. They're halfway through the season, so we're about halfway through all of our podcasts for the season, which is quite a interesting thing to think about. I'm Freddie Humphrey Wakefield, and I'm joined by Henry Miller and Jack Wright. There's no Will Grant. He's doing something. I'm not sure. I'm sure he can all tell us in the next video he's in. But no, we'll leave it out. But a warm welcome to everyone listening, except if you work for the Football Association. Can you click off now, please? We've got some stern words for all of you very soon, but we'll come on to that a bit later. But first things first, how are the pair of you doing on the day in which we're recording this? There's only, a week until Christmas. So have you got all your Christmas shopping done? Have you brought everyone that you have thought of some presents? And have you got the turkey ready to cook in a week's time? Or are you completely behind and you're absolutely panicking and you've got no idea what to do and everything's up in the air and there may be some coal in some stockings, as that's simply all you can get?
Yeah, I think I'm basically there in terms of my Christmas shopping, which is rare for me because normally I start on like the 21st. So for me to basically be done, I feels an achievement. But haven't got the turkey yet. That'll be a job for Saturday, I reckon. But yeah, all is good with me. But yeah, just not looking forward to the weekend with potentially Angus Gunn maybe missing a game, maybe getting a suspension. Who knows yet, based on the reports coming out today. So, yeah, not good fun in NCFC land. But other than that, it's all good.
You might say there's lots of NCFC pain. I've had a great day. In terms of shopping, I'm organised. I get my wife to do all of it. I'm kidding. I do some of it. She does like 90% of it. I can't claim any credit. And I'm going up to Norfolk for Christmas, so my mum will be doing the turkey. So again, I'm just sat here waiting for it all to fall into place. Actually, some extra information just in case anyone is wondering where Will is. The FA have been in touch and they've actually banned him for 4 podcasts. So I hear we have 48 hours to appeal. I have the letter right here. So watch out, everyone.
Yeah, no, that may get extended. He may get a 4 podcast ban rather than just the one. So we'll wait and see. We believe he's been fined all of our YouTube earnings, which is about 20p in a Freddo. So I think he'll be all right. But no, we move on. We move on to Norwich's game that went by at the weekend. Played Burnley at home. They were plain sailing after 62 seconds. Jose Cordoba had the ball in the back of the net for his first career goal, and of course his first Norwich City goal. But then it just all went a bit wrong. It went pear-shaped for Norwich. They ended up losing the game 2-1, and 2 goals which, in my opinion, at the very least, were very avoidable. 2 lapses in concentration, I feel, for the pair of them. And Burnley end up winning the game. And it seemed as if once Burnley made the substitutions that they needed to change up the game, and Norwich brought some on where they needed them to try and salvage themselves a point, you looked at the personnel for both sides which came on, and was the result down to just Norwich? They had an inferior amount of just backup. They didn't have as much depth as Burnley had, or maybe they don't have as strong as the depth Burnley and Scott Parker possess. But when you're a newly relegated side, you already have quite an expensive team. It's probably, you would expect that. But is that how you saw it really, that Norwich's lack of depth cost them the game? Or was it just those moments there where they switch off and ultimately it's fine margins?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Freddie. I think it just showed how thin this squad is, and you look at the people on our bench and then the people on Burnley's bench. It's chalk and cheese, really, and it's just such a shame that we couldn't hold on to the league. to the lead. Sorry, because after 61 seconds we went ahead, and Burnley looked very shaky after that, and we could have easily have got a second or maybe even a third goal as well to properly get out of sight and run away with the game. But what I did want to say is that first goal for Burnley for Zian Fleming, what a strike that was. You said there, Freddie, that you didn't want any like individual errors, and you could sort of hold Norwich City players accountable for both goals. But I feel like with that goal, you just have to hold your hands up and applaud, really, because it was an unbelievable strike. And if you are to lose a football game, lose it to a goal like that, because in all seriousness, there's probably nothing you can do. The main issue I have is with the second goal. Obviously, Kellen Fisher tries to get there, but he heads it straight into the path of Josh Brownhill. And, you know, he doesn't need two opportunities to find the back of the net, does he? Someone as dangerous at this level as what Josh Brownhill is. So that was really annoying, to give someone that deadly that much room to just punish us. And don't get me wrong, Burnley are one of the best teams in the Championship this season, and their defensive record speaks for itself, and I'll be very shocked if they don't get an instant return to the Premier League. But the fact of the matter is, we had that game in the palm of our hands, and yes, we didn't play great at all. Like I said, the first 20 minutes we were good. The first half we were probably good, but the second half was quite a bore fest. But if you get all 3 points, that doesn't really matter. And the fact that we didn't, I think, is sort of really put the poor performance into the spotlight, really. But no, hopefully we can bounce back against Sunderland. But I'm not too confident, especially with McLean still being injured. Everything we seem to do right sort of anchors on Kenny McLean, it seems. So yeah, not a good time, and worried for this weekend as well.
With 67 minutes on the clock, I was thinking to myself, you know what? We've done all right at managing this match. We were in front, and my overriding thought, as we conceded an innocuous free kick that probably wasn't going to result in anything, I genuinely thought to myself, we've managed this well purely because Burnley haven't been playing that well. I think any fan in the stadium, Burnley or Norwich alike, would probably say that Burnley didn't really turn up in the first half, and for the start of the second, and then a goal comes from completely out of nowhere. That I agree with Henry. You can close down your man and you can be a little bit concentrated, but come on, the curl on that into the top corner. I've said it before. I think that's the best goal at Carrow Road since Forestieri against Sheffield Wednesday. It's one of those where I watched it and I kind of scratched my head and I thought, did that actually just go in? Did that right into the top corner? I think Burnley's best player up until that point was James Trafford, who formerly of Manchester City and has been called up to England squads, James Trafford. And in terms of the substitutes that they brought on a former Manchester United midfielder, and Zian Fleming, who they've got from Millwall, I think on loan, but I think there's like a £7 or £8 million fee agreed. What did we do? We brought on Jack Stacey to go at right wing, and Ono Hernandez to go up front. I don't need to add any tactical analysis to that. I literally just have to tell you those statements. I think I looked at Burnley before the game and I thought to myself, there's not really any goals in there. And most of their goals have come from Josh Brownhill, who scored 6. I'm sure he's not going to be in the goals because he's a midfielder who plays quite deep. And that sort of didn't work at all. And that didn't transpire. I think you look at it and it's now... It's now our fantastic record at Carrow Road all of a sudden sort of falling off the side of a cliff. We could have forgotten the Bristol City result, but now it's becoming more of a trend. Obviously, fantastic to score against Burnley, who are defensively fantastic. Did we offer a lot more? I'd say we offered in attack probably a 4 out of 10 effort. I think 4 out of 10 is fair. I don't think we really huffed and puffed and were as fantastic as we could have been. Do agree for the second goal. Freddie, you called it at the time that it was Signs trying to be his own little sort of solo runner, trying to beat the entire team on his own, when he probably could have just passed it or done something clever or done something that wasn't just running straight into trouble. And it literally, the chance came as a result of that. It came from us trying to be arrogant in playing out from the back. Again, it's everyone's least favorite tactic, playing out from the back. And it's just a really frustrating result. I can't remember if we put it in the agenda, but I'll mention it anyway. The statistic of 18 points dropped from winning positions. I'm sure we'll mention it later, but I'm going to mention it now. That's still an astonishingly, hilariously awful statistic, and something needs to change now. Well, not now, on Saturday.
No, well, we'll talk about it now because it's the most in the league. That is it. Norwich have lost the most points from a winning position in the Championship this season. If they hadn't lost a single point, which of course hindsight's a brilliant thing, but if they hadn't lost a single point from a winning position, they would be second in the league, which says it all. Norwich would be a automatic promotion contender, and they would be fighting it out, maybe even for the title. But as I say, hindsight is a very easy and wonderful thing to use when you look at statistics like that. But especially when they have a trip up to Wearside at the weekend approaching, do Norwich have a chance? Because it seems as if we know their away form is atrocious. 2 wins from 11 this season with 5 losses is dire. That is really, really bad. Their away form last season wasn't much better. So you instantly look at that and it's a case of Norwich they're in trouble, and Sunderland are 4th in the league, exceeding a lot of expectations. Or you just have to look at where we predicted to have them in the league in our pre-season predictions. They are flying, and they don't look like they're going to stop anytime soon. And it's going to be a very, very tough test again for this Norwich side, who just at the moment they're just sort of trudging along. They're not picking up results, and they're not doing all that well. I think from what I looked at it earlier, after Norwich beat Hull City 4-0, they were 7th in the league and I think 5 points off of second place. And in the, I believe, 12 matches prior, Norwich have picked up 11 points. That is just, it's not good enough. It isn't good enough for a side who maybe their aspirations are to be playoff contenders. It probably isn't, because it's a new manager and a new system. It's probably a bit too harsh to look at that and say that Norwich aren't doing well enough, or that everyone should expect better, because that's what Norwich are used to. So no, but it is. Are there any concerns there really that ring around that? And you look at Saturday, it's another very tough match, and given how they're faring, do Norwich stand a chance? It's probably a very harsh question to ask, but you look at it and they could be in for maybe a hiding at the Stadium of Light, just based off the sheer contrast of these two sides.
Well, Freddie, watching as much Championship football as we all have, we know that Norwich do have a chance, although it is very, very slim. Like we've all touched upon, Sunderland are flying at the minute, and we couldn't buy a win, with all of the problems we've got both on the field and off the field at the minute. So, Norwich do stand a chance, I think, but it is a very slim one, and I'm not looking forward to Saturday. Just go there, get a point if needs be, and then, come home. I would absolutely take a point now. But I think in terms of where we're going wrong, it's a amalgamation of things, really. So obviously, Johannes Hoftorp is still finding his feet in English football, and I think his game management probably could be better. It could be slightly better. We touched on there that he didn't bring Ashley Barnes on as a striker and chose to bring on Ono Hernandez as that vocal point against Burnley, where I've said before that I don't think Ashley Barnes is a striker, but surely you'd play him up top over Ono Hernandez in a game where he knows the opposition. And then to also play Jack Stacey at right wing made no sense whatsoever. So those little mistakes, Johannes Hoftorp will learn from, but it will take time. And that's why I think a lot of people probably do accept that this is a transitional season. Just not only the new players can find their footing, like Sienats, like Schwartau, players like that, but also for Johannes Hoftorp, this season is not a free hit, because no season's really a free hit, but this is the time to make those mistakes so that he knows for the future. So and as well, obviously missing Kenny McLean, I think that real squad depth just that we're lacking really does show as well, because you take him out of the squad and it's basically the entire spine of the team gone. And Freddie, what you alluded to there about us having the worst record for losing positions, for not winning after going ahead in the league. Most people would say that that's a defensive issue, but on the pod last week, me and Jack were talking about the Barry Butler Award that we do every year, and other than Borja Sainz, all of our players in there were defenders. We had Shane Duffy, there was a shout, Callum Fisher, there was a shout, Callum Doyle. Even Jack Stacey, he's been all right. And these players, they've all had good seasons, especially players like Callum Fisher, who's really come into his own. Shane Duffy, who's so improved compared to his performances last season. Yet it's the defence that is also is still our Achilles heel, really. So I think that just shows that it's the spine of the team that's the issue here, and probably not the defence itself, because we all know how good Angus Gunn is on his day, and like I said, for the most, I think the defence have actually played really well. So I just think the squad depth is the issue, because you take out those key players like your Nunez's, Andrew McLean's, and the structure then goes and we look lost. And that's why we're conceding so many goals from winning positions, because players who wouldn't normally play are playing, and maybe we do look completely different from when we do have our starting 11. So I think it's a mixture of things that's going wrong at the minute, but hopefully with time they can sort of iron themselves out, really.
I'm calling it now. I'm writing off the season. We can write it off, boys. No, I'm calling it now. Let's write it off. Let's be negative Nellies. We ain't gonna get the playoffs, and even if we do get the playoffs, what's the point? Let's just take it as a free hit, like Henry said. Rest of the season, let's just do whatever we like. Let's just play Fisher up top, George Long on the left wing. I let's just mix it up. Who knows? I can't help but feel sort of conflicted about what type of Norwich City team I want. Last season under Wagner, when we signed Adam Forshaw and Danny Bart, we kind of were just like, no, we don't want really old players who are great leaders and experience. We want lots of young players who are fantastic and have actually got fresh knees. and who can actually develop. And now we filled the team full of fresh young players, and we're like, no, we need players with experience like Adam Forshaw and Danny Bart. We need, I feel like we just need a bit of both. I mean, obviously we've got the likes of Duffy, Hanley still in the squad. Kenny, when he's not shouting expletives at officials. I just think about the Kenny enigma, that it's exactly like you said, Henry. For some reason, we cannot perform when he's not on the pitch, and there's going to become. I'm going to say this quietly. There's going to come a time where Kenny McLean no longer plays for Norwich City, and we're going to need to find his replacement. And I fear that if we cannot find someone to replace him who's not Jakob Sorensen, we might get relegated to League Two until, like, Kenny McLean's son is of age to play in midfield. We might have to wait 20 years until we're, able to compete in the playoffs again. But yeah, I looked at the Burnley game and kind of that Brownhill goal. Again, just a lot of kind of players looking around and kind of just putting hands in the air and shrugging and going, oh, well, just someone take accountability. Someone, stick your neck on the line. Someone just, lead these kids, because, they just look lost at the moment. They just look a bit sheepish. There needs to be a bit of oomph. I don't know how to give them a bit of oomph. Maybe we could go sign someone with experience in January. Maybe someone like Paul Mullin. I don't know.
No. Leave this Paul Mullin nonsense alone, please.
No,
I beg of you, please. Please. When will this facade ever end?
No, never going to give you up, never going to let you down, never going to turn around and hurt you. Do we stand a chance against Sunderland? Well, yeah, it's the Championship, isn't it? Like, we could rock up and win 5-0 and it just be the most Norwich thing to have ever happened. Expect the unexpected. I think they're annoyingly good this season, and I was quite rude about whatever his manager's name is, Reggie Le Camembert or something. I don't know. What is his name? Reggie? I can't take anyone seriously.
Reggie Le Brie.
Brie. Oh, sorry, I got my fancy cheeses mixed up. Anyway, yeah. Well, seemingly they've done it by stuffing their team full of young players. And Torrop was obviously very open in his pre-Burnley presser when he was asked about January, that it will take a few windows. And we've obviously heard that before under a previous sporting directorship with a similar continental coach who we seemingly also had beef with in his first season because we weren't anywhere near the playoffs when we had one star player who was getting all of the goals. And then the next season we sold that player, didn't really replace him, got loads of weirdos on a free and romped the league. Basically, right off this season, it's all happening next season, lads. Don't you worry.
No, I don't think it'll happen next season. I think it'll happen this season. No, I'm joking. No, who knows? We'll see. No, I think history could repeat itself in that sense, because it takes time for projects to click on, and Torrop has only been here half a season. It isn't going to be absolutely perfect, and Norwich aren't going to win every single game, because that's just not how it works in football. You have to be extremely lucky for everything to click and everyone to work straight away, especially when you don't really have the personnel that you want. Maybe in January that could be the case. We've heard Mark Atanasio say that there will be money available and that Norwich will be looking to be active in the window. Torrop will probably want that as well, because he can use it to maybe ship off some deadwood and bring in some more youth or maybe some experience. Who knows? We'll have to wait for the month to begin. We have to ride out the last 2 weeks of December and see how Norwich go into the new year in that regard. But no, it's going to be a tough one up against Sunderland, as already alluded to, a very top side with a lot of very talented young players who are really coming into life. Their whole transfer policy is signing players under the age of 23, I want to say, and it's doing well for them. Chris Rigg, Job Bellingham, who else? Romain Mundell, Eliza Mayenda, just to name a few, are all flying for Sunderland this season under Reggie Le Camembert, Reggie Le Brie, Reggie Le Cheddar, whatever cheese you want to go with for their manager. But let's leave Sunderland and some badly made food puns out of it. We'll go back to Norwich, and even though we've maybe been negative Nancy's, as Jack said, let's go to a positive and a bit of a shining light from that Burnley game. We will go to who Henry mentioned earlier in Oscar Sfartal, the 18-year-old who looked rather decent against Burnley, due to what a lot of people have said who actually watched the game in full, unlike myself. But is it time to maybe give Sfartal a run out on the right wing, with considering Sienat's probably will not play there for a while, and Norwich haven't got all too many other options to play there, and they tried Marcondes on that side, it didn't really work. Is it time for, as we call him, Oscar the Ox, to get a bit of a run out?
I think it's sort of similar to the Amankwa Forson debate, where when he was playing there, I think he did a job, but you could tell that he's not a natural right winger. It's the same with Oscar Schwartau. But what I will say, on Radio Norfolk commentary, Chris Gorham described it as right wing roulette, and that's very much what it's felt like this season. But I think Schwartau has probably done quite a good job there, like compared to the others. Marcondes didn't really suit that role. He suits playing sort of deeper, I'd say, and then progressing the ball that way. And Forson looked quite good there when he did play, but he clearly wasn't a right winger. And yeah, although I don't think that will be Schwartau's position going forwards, I think he probably has done enough to earn a couple of starts and get a few starts behind his belt now. Whether that's from the right wing or slightly deeper, who knows? But yeah, I'd definitely like to see him start, because I think he's a very promising player, and to look that promising at only the age of 18, I think he could go on to be such a really good talent for Norwich. That's for sure.
Well, if we keep on spinning the wheel, eventually we're going to have Tony Springett at right wing. We're probably going to have Captain Canary at right wing, and then the next option is Michael Wynne-Jones. So really, we're getting to scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of right mid options. I thought Oscar did all right. He did a little jinky, skilly move thing, which made all of the lower Barkley go, "Oh!" Not quite like that. They don't all sound like that. If they did, we might get a bit more stick from away fans. But no, he's got good feet. He's clearly a big old boy for 18. Born in 2006. Oh, that makes me feel so old. Anyway, yeah, no, he's good. I think he just needs to work on his final ball. I've not really kind of seen him, create that many clear-cut chances or create openings for himself. Very much clearly a player who tore up eyes as kind of a star for next season. But as I've alluded to, because we've already written off this season, why not just give him a go? Nothing to lose. I just don't really know what his best position is, because he's so big and tall and strong. Doesn't necessarily mean that he can't be a winger. A big, tall, strong winger, might be a good tactical move if you've got a wee man up front. You want someone to do a diagonal, to head it down, to nod it in. You see what I mean? It's a bit like Mousetrap. Mousetrap, like you do the ball to get the thing, to get the hat, to go on the twing. Anyway, I'm a tactical genius. But yeah, give him a go at right mid. Either that, or just sign someone in January who can actually be really good at right wing, or play Christian Fastnet.
What I will say about Schwartau as well, not sure if you boys agree, but I think he's one of the only players in the Norwich squad who just doesn't look like a footballer. I think when he's on the pitch, like, he's fine, but facially, I think he looks more like a musician than he does a footballer. I don't know why, but I get Rizzle Kicks vibes whenever I look at him. I don't know why. Just sort of quite lanky, quite tall. Can't imagine him as a guitarist. Imagine him in a band sort of like that, just singing, rapping. Don't know why.
It's Rizzle Kicks. That's an interesting one. Very interesting.
Incredibly niche. That is incredibly niche. I'm going to be honest. I don't want to hurt your feelings, Henry, but no, I did not look at Oscar Schwartau and think, Rizzle Kicks. Yeah, that was the trumpets. That was you, yeah? In 2011, when you were 5.
The minute I saw him, I just got Rizzle Kicks vibes, and I don't know why.
No, I don't know. Yeah, him being born in 2006 even makes me feel old. I was 4. I was 4 years old when he was born. That makes me feel. That even makes me feel old. But no, I don't think Rizzle Kicks when I look at Oscar Schwartau. I don't really know what I think when I look at him. Really, I don't even know what he thinks when he looks at himself and he thinks maybe we should try and book him in for an interview and we'll see what we'll ask him that very question. No, well, Kellen Fisher follows our social media, so Kellen, if you are watching, drop a quick message to the Ox, and we'll get it booked, and we'll see what he thinks. Maybe he knows Rizzle Kicks. Maybe he did listen to them as a 5 or 6 year old, or whatever. No, who knows? They're all the burning questions that everyone wants to know, and that's why we cover them. You don't get this anywhere else. This is what we love. We love nonsense, but we should go. Well, actually, you know what? We'll keep on topic with nonsense, but not from our own perspective, from the FA's perspective, because it is absolutely ridiculous that they have got it out for Norwich City. They banned Kenny McLean for 4 matches for hitting someone in the face and then apologising for hitting him in the face. They give Angus Gunn a fine because he had a little shout at the ref. And what's going on? Why do the FA not like Norwich City anymore? Were they part of the yo-yo labelling brigade? Do they just not like Norwich anymore? Is yellow and green getting a bit sickly to them? It's just what is going on? Because it genuinely seems that the Football Association and Queen's Park Rangers, they've got something against Norwich. That there's something there which there's some unsettled debts, I feel, or maybe they just owe QPR a favour from a few years ago. So, but what do the pair of you make of it? Because it's just for it to happen 10 days after a game, it makes no sense. Norwich have played 2 matches since then, and they're still getting penalised for stuff like that. I just think it's ridiculous. But what do the pair of you make of it?
Yeah, I think it's an absolute disgrace, to be honest. The fact that the FA have waited this long to just bring up this allegation against Angus Gunn, I think is absolutely ridiculous. But also, what's more frustrating is that they've taken 10 days to come to this verdict that they should punish Angus Gunn for a incident that happened during the game. Yeah, he's only got 2 days to respond. How is that fair? Like, I can't help but feel like they've completely shafted Norwich. And I can't remember off the top of my head how long it took them to upgrade Kenny's original ban from a 3-match ban to a 4-match ban. But I think it was a matter of days. So what has changed from then to now? Like in terms of the time period that they're actually looking at these decisions for. I just think everything they've done is not only awful, I think it also sets a really bad precedent. And I know Johannes Hoftorp has been very outspoken on this, but surely if they're sort of clamping down on this, then they have to clamp down on it across the board. There are so many players who will use offensive language directed to the referee during a football match. And is it right? Of course it's not right. And to be fair, Angus Gunn and Kenny McLean.
Oh, I think Henry's gone. I think 2 weeks in a row we've lost someone. Oh no.
We'll keep rolling. We'll keep rolling.
2 weeks in a row. We'll have to keep going. Jack, I'm going to have to come to you for your thoughts, because Henry is dipped out. Norfolk Wi-Fi's given up. Let's hope Essex is all right. But no, I'll just come to you for it, because obviously Henry, I think the FA have plugged in on his Wi-Fi and kicked him off.
Yeah, sounds about right. I, for one, agree with the FA. I think it's a fantastic decision. I think players should not be allowed to talk to referees. I think players should not raise their arms during football matches. They should not be naughty in any way, shape or form. And the FA is well within their rights to wait 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 years to punish teams. That's absolutely fine. I might have gone a little bit mad and angry on Twitter earlier and insinuated that the FA should charge Wes Hoolahan for diving against Watford and should imprison Ryan Bennett for life for pushing Alexis Sanchez into a camera dugout. I agree with our long lost friend Henry in terms of where it sets the bar. The bar is so low, I tripped over it. And yes, it now seemingly should be the precedent for, you know, all the other clubs and all the other teams and everyone else in the football league. Oh, we've got Henry. Yeah,
he's back.
Henry.
He's back.
We've got Henry. He's on his mobile, hates his Wi-Fi. He's back with us.
He's back.
Henry, what's going on?
Yeah, I think on my phone it'll be all right. Don't know what happened there. I'm having serious Wi-Fi issues. So, yeah. To be fair, that's the story of the podcast, isn't it?
Always will be, and never will change. Honestly, we could record it on NASA's Wi-Fi and we'd still have issues. Just no, it's not right. It's not right.
No, it's not. But yeah, so going back to what I was saying, I definitely think that, you know, the Football Association should clamp down on offences like this, but to wait 10 days, I just think is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. And yeah, they're definitely setting a precedent for themselves. And I think, you know, if they're going to pull Norwich up and ban Kenny McLean retrospectively for an incident during the game, then they have to do that across the board at Championship, League One and League Two level, and maybe even Premier League level, although they do have VAR. So yeah, you know, it's dangerous because they're clearly not going to do that. And then it just looks like they're singling out Norwich. And also the other question mark you have to ask yourself is, it was revealed that Johannes Otterup got a phone call from Kevin Friend, who's the head of the PGMOL, apologising for some of the mistakes made in the QPR game. So why are they apologising and then banning Kenny McLean and then potentially banning Angus Gunn? It makes no sense whatsoever. And I don't think anyone can fully understand what has actually happened here.
No, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
I will add to my point as well, something you mentioned, Freddie, that we've now got a weird rivalry with QPR. I don't know whose fault it is, whether they have ratted us to the FA or the FA just hate us. But QPR, join the list of clubs that we hate that are in blue and white. We'll see you on the 29th of December, eh? Yeah, for some fisticuffs or you know, some mild patter. I'm not going to indulge in any fisticuffs. I've never indulged in fisticuffs in my life. I do not encourage indulging in fisticuffs. But maybe if someone from the FA were to come up to me and say I work for the FA, then I would indulge in a swipe or two. Huzzah!
I hope you don't fight like that. That would be an interesting one. Whereas for me, I want fisticuffs on the pitch. Do not let QPR get away with anything on there. Just let them know how infuriated you are. I do not care if it takes a red card, 2 red cards. You get the game abandoned for horrible challenges. Don't you dare let anyone on that pitch in a hooped shirt get the better of you. If I'm Johannes Hoftorp here, I am screaming at my lads in the dressing room just to leave it in on them. Make the FA actually have to make the decision properly. Be nasty, be horrible, do anything you want to QPR, but just keep it within reason. Just be horrible.
I think as well
horrible.
For the QPR game, we're going to have to come up with a new chant that will be appropriate. We're all dreaming of a team of Ashley Barnes, a team of Ashley Barnes, a team of Ashley Barnes. Number 1, Ashley Barnes. Number
2 is Ashley Barnes.
Ashley Barnes.
Number 3, no, we won't go the whole way. No,
We won't. No.
We'll leave it. No, I think, you know what? Start Barnes in that game because I think he'll be very riled up for it. But no, we'll go. Just before we go on to the quick fire takes, we'll do one last sort of somewhat long-winded one, and it's one Norwich team that are struggling to another. Henry, your area of expertise is the Norwich City women's team, and they're struggling. They've not had very good results as of late. I want to say it's back-to-back losses for them. They've under Andy Cook, it's not really gone as well as many would have expected, maybe including yourself, but they just seem to really be stuck in a rut at the moment. And is there a way out for them?
You'd like to think there's a way out for them, but then again, on paper, we're probably one of, if not the strongest team in the league, and we currently sit in 8th. So, yeah, it is definitely crisis territory for Norwich City women. They lost again at the weekend to Cambridge United 2-0. And I think the frustrating part was we went to Cambridge and won in the FA Cup. Yeah, when it actually mattered, arguably in the league, we lose 2-0. Don't really offer anything. And yeah, we finished the league, year in 8th place in the league. Bear in mind, last season we lost 1 league game all season, and that was on the final day. And we finished 3rd, I think, either 3rd or 2nd. Had such an impressive season, and all knew that we were probably going to kick on and sort of expect those same standards. To then drop off as much as we have, and to be 8th and without a league win since September is abysmal, and it's not good enough. Something needs to change. Whether that is Andy Cook or whether that's personnel, I don't know. But yeah, something needs to change and fast. And I don't know where Norwich City women go from here. Maybe it will do them the world of good to have this break now. And of course, this season, I think Norwich have been more of a cup side. They've progressed relatively far in the FA Cup, which they're now out of. They went deep into the National League play, which they're now out of. It's just the County Cup that they have to worry about. So I think the fact that those two arguably distractions have now passed them by and they can solely focus on the league, I do think results will start to pick up and they will start to climb the league table again heading into 2025. But yeah, not looking good, and it would be interesting to see where Norwich and where Andy Cook goes from here, because yeah, he's definitely not a safe man at the minute.
No, doesn't seem it, and that is a shame considering the caliber of which Andy Cook had. Other sides in a similar tier or similar division rather in women's football had done very well with Newcastle, and it just doesn't seem like that. Maybe that's rubbed off in his time at Norwich City, which is a shame, of course, as you alluded to. Were fantastic last season, lost 1 match the entire season, won the County Cup, but maybe that's very much expected of them because they're by far in much higher leagues than anyone else in the county of women's sides. But no, maybe a change could be needed for them, or maybe not. And you have to wait and see throughout the rest of the season. But from quite a fair bit of nonsense, to be fair, of dreaming of a team of Ashley Barnes. Maybe that was one of Jack's hot takes and it's been stolen now by Henry. But no, we'll go into that and I'll let the main man take it away himself. So, Jack, 5 hot take questions. If no one's ever listened before, Jack asked us 5 questions every single week. They're quick fire ones. He wants quick fire answers, and maybe he'll catch us out and we'll say something ridiculous. But no, we'll see if that happens. So, Jack, over to you and the 5 big questions of the week.
So, I've cheated this week, and you two aren't even aware of this. So, I have got other people to write the hot takes for me. If you'd seen earlier in the week, I put out a tweet that said, we listen and we don't judge, Norwich City edition. So lots of fans got in touch with lots of replies and lots of responses of opinions which you're not allowed to judge. I've picked out my personal 5 favourites. All of the submitters have consented to me stealing their answers. So I'm not just being mean and picking on them. And there are some very juicy ones. Again, this is wholly cheating and me not doing my own homework. So first hot take, I guess, is from NCFC Harry with 2 Ys. He said, if Sargent didn't get injured last season, we would have got top 2 and Wagner would still be our manager as an effect. Discuss.
No.
I disagree with that.
Completely disagree with that. Norwich wouldn't have ended up in the top 2. I think I don't think they would have done, even if Sargent had kept fit, because you can't just assume if he's in. Of course, he was in great goal scoring form, but no.
And as well, you're looking at 4 teams last season who had insane seasons and who each could have won the championship in any other season. So the fact that it was so competitive, yeah, I agree with Freddie. I don't think we would have won the league had Sargent have been fit throughout the entirety of it. And also David Wagner, he obviously was there to oversee the transition from Stuart Webber to Ben Napper. And I think we all knew by the time Ben Napper came in that he was sort of a dead man walking, really, that no matter what the result and no matter what the outcome of Norwich City's season, that he wouldn't be kept on. And, you know, that was proven to be correct in the most harshest way possible, I guess. You know, we go on a brilliant run, get into the playoffs, and then, yeah, they still dismiss him. So if they're willing to pull the trigger after we get into the top 6 and achieve our goals, then, yeah, I don't think he ever would have stayed on for this season.
I think a fully fit Sargent probably would have got us 5th, which I think if we'd have beaten Birmingham, we would have gone 5th anyway. Yeah, I don't think we would have cracked into that top 4, as he said, Henry. That was 4 teams who were head and shoulders above us. I think if we'd have gone up, we would probably still have sacked Wagner. But interesting opinion nonetheless. Next one from big_slove on Twitter, Sam Love. Stuart Webber might be the most overhated character in football. The man constantly pulled off miracles in the market, funded one of the best training and youth facilities going, and we're still enjoying the fruits of it now. Borja on a free, outstanding.
No. Again, I disagree. You talk about miracles in the transfer market. I raise you a lot of players. Dennis Sabeni. Not a miracle. No, I don't care. He signed him. You want to talk about players signed? Patrick Roberts on loan. No, was never going to play because Buendia was right midfield almost every single game. Sidney Van Hooijdonk was Napper. Sorry, that's me getting far too carried away with bad signings. Right, who else was there? Hwang Ujou. Look where he's ended up. He's behind bars. That was, masterstroke by Webber, a miracle signing by Webber. That. Who else was there? Danny Bart, Adam Forshaw. Who else did we sign? Ralph Fairman, miracle signing. That. James Husband, miracle signing. Ben Marshall, miracle sign. I could go on. No, overhated, maybe, but then when you look at his moral values as well, I think it's maybe a bit fair.
I think Freddie hit the nail on the head there. I think, don't get me wrong, everything that Stuart Webber did in terms of the training facility was brilliant, and the contributor is right. We're still reaping the rewards for that. But in terms of player signings, for every miracle he pulled off in the transfer window, there's also a massive flop that came under the tutelage of Stuart Webber. So, yeah, overhated. I don't know, but yeah, his legacy definitely isn't a great one. It's mixed to say the least, I'd say.
I would. I don't think he's the most overhated character in football. There's definitely people who are more. Not many other sporting directors would have got Buendia for 1.5 mil, Pookie on a free, Krull on a free, Borja on a free, Gabby Sarah for, it was about 9 or 10 million, but still. I think he made a lot of bad decisions at the end. And in the most crucial season of all, which was let me get it right, 21-22 season, that was the one where we really should have spent correctly and we spent completely wrong, and we're kind of cascading down since then. I don't think he's the most overhated, but I'm kind of in the middle with Webber. I don't know. I like Pookie. What can I say? So next one from NCFC_Adam, or Adam on Twitter. We'd have reached Europe if Lambert never left.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a very good one, because that team was on the up. Europe, though, I don't think so. I don't think Europe. I think we still would have been still a very good outfit in upper mid-table. I think Europe's taking it a bit far. I don't think that team would have ended up a European side, but they would have been competing. But no, we wouldn't have gotten Europe. I think that's a bit too high an aspiration.
I agree, but with a caveat. I think we may have got Europe, but it would have been through one of the cups, because I think under Paul Lambert we did go relatively deep in some cup competitions. So that would have been our best chance, I'd have thought. Had Lambert have not gone to Aston Villa, I think we would have been an established Premier League side, and definitely a top half Premier League side. But I think probably 8th or 9th would have been our limit and our ceiling, really. And yeah, I couldn't have imagined that squad in any European football other than maybe going deep in the cup and maybe winning, having a fluke win in, say, like the Carabao Cup maybe. But yeah, so yeah, sort of agree, sort of disagree.
I would agree, because I think it depends on what you define as Europe. I think to have got into like the Europa League qualifiers, that's Europe. You look at the standard of teams that were kind of in and around our level at that time, who then went on to play in Europe. Hull, Swansea, obviously Wolves, very famously under Nuno, went sort of all the way, from League One up to the Championship, up to Europe very quickly. I think it's doable. Lambert wouldn't have been very happy, but in this magical theoretical world where he was happy, I would have loved, going to somewhere like, I don't know, Maribor, and seeing Simon Lappin curling across for Grant Holt to past some flailing Kazakhstani goalkeeper. But I agree. And you know, Europe could have been on the cards, but alas, that's fiction. So this is a good one. I really like this one from Sam_UL with lots of L's. He has said Xavi Quintilla was as good as Yanulis and would have cost a fifth of the price.
Completely agree with that. Completely agree. I was really annoyed and a bit upset we didn't sign Quintilla because I really liked him. I thought he was a very solid replacement of Jamal Lewis. I really liked him. I thought he added a lot of different elements to the table. It was pretty good going forward. Quite not the best maybe defensively, but he would have definitely cost less than Yanulis. And no, I do agree with that. Genuinely, I think Quintilla would have been better.
Yeah, did you say his name was Sam? I think,
Yes.
yeah, Sam's spot on there. I think Quintilla would have cost half the price, probably less than Demetrius Yanulis. And as Freddie said, going forwards, he was much better. Defensively, he was good as well. So yeah, I think for me, in terms of fullbacks, Quintilla and Dykes are probably the ones that got away. And not signing him as a backup at least, I think was quite poor.
Yeah, we've had a good history of, well, I was going to say good history of Spanish left backs. I was literally just thinking of Garrido and that's it. I agree. I think Quintilla was probably the forgotten man in that fantastic promotion season. We all remember Ollie Skip on loan and how fantastic he was. But yeah, even if we signed Xavi Quintilla this January, I don't know what he's doing now. He might have retired or might be injured or might be completely career fallen off the cliff. But I'd take him back now. And the final one from now that the handle name is quite an indication. In Farker we trust. Ben on Twitter has said, wait for this one, if we didn't sack Farker, we'd be in the Premier League right now.
Well, just before we touch on that, I've just had a look at Xavi Quintilla. He's playing in the Cyprus League for Apoel Nicosia. No, sorry, let me get this right. Apoel Nicosia.
Nicosia.
There you go. So he's playing in the Conference League right now. So he ended up all right. Yanulis is playing mid-table Bundesliga football for Augsburg. So I think, yeah, maybe Quintilla got the last laugh. Would we be in the Premier League under Farker? No. Just look at the 2 seasons we had under Farker in the Premier League. And I think that's all you need to say.
What is this? Our 3rd season in the Championship now? Which suggests that, to me, no, we wouldn't be in the Premier League. Because had we have kept Farker, we'd have gone up in 2023, then gone down in 2024. So we still would have been in the Championship. So yeah, I disagree with that one.
In Farker we trust. I think you're being a little bit too loyal and a bit too nostalgic. I think, you know, we always wish and we always dream of what might have happened. But I think, like Freddie said, I think we kind of knew what would have happened. I mean, we don't need to be huge fortune tellers to see that he wasn't quite ready. I mean, you could argue that maybe after that Brentford game, he would have had better results and might have got the better out of Zolis and, you know, maybe. But at this point, you're clutching at very thin straws. I think appointing Dean Smith was the right decision. And I think we've never looked back since.
No.
But yes, that's your 5 harvested quickfire hot takes, which weren't very quickfire at all, but some fantastic opinions. And thank you to everyone who submitted your fantastic opinions on that tweet. Maybe I'll do that again later in the season and harvest some more opinions from you.
No, a very warm thank you to those who did that, and a warm thank you to anyone who's watched or listened. Your continued support is very lovely. We got our Spotify Wrapped through for the podcast, and I want to say there was over 30 accounts who had us as a top 10 show. So considering we've only been going for about on the pod for about 6 months, no, that is incredible. Very, very warm thank you for your support.
Thanks, Mum. I'm kidding. She doesn't listen. She doesn't know what Spotify is.
No, well, to anyone who listened, whether it was someone's mum or someone's nan or granddad, no, it's very much appreciated. So we thank you very kindly, and we hope you all will have a lovely Christmas, even though we'll be recording a podcast a lot closer to Christmas this time, sort of next week, really. But no, we hope you have a lovely rest of your week. We hope Norwich win at Sunderland. Probably won't, but we can dream. We can all hope and cross our fingers like Jack's doing there. No, and even though we had dodgy Wi-Fi, we got through it in the end once again, and we're able to sign off with all three of us here smiling and laughing. So no, thank you for either watching or listening to a latest episode of the MFW podcast. It's goodbye for now, and we'll see you for the next video of ours on the channel or the next podcast over on Spotify.